In October 2022, in Everman, Texas, Noel Angel Alvarez was last seen by any family. His mother claimed that he was in the care of his biological father in Mexico, which was not true. She then fled the country with her husband and remaining children. What the investigation uncovers is a vulnerable 5-year-old in an abusive household and an obsession with Santa Murte. Hi, welcome back to Grace Benson Investigates, where I deep dive into true crime, paranormal phenomena, cults, and history. Without further ado, let's get into today's case. This is Missing Monday, where I specifically talk about disappearances. Some found, but most need to be found. Today's case takes place in Everman, Texas. Everman is located on the southern edge of Fort Worth, Texas. It has a population of around 6,150 people. This is where Noel Rodriguez Alvarez lived with his mother, her husband, and his siblings. He lived a traumatic 6 years before he went missing. He had disabilities and deserved better. After not seeing Noel, family members reported him missing. His mother took her husband and other children and fled to India. Sadly, police presumed Noel deceased. This is his story. Noel Rodriguez Alvarez was born in Texas on February 2nd, 2017, to Cindy Rodriguez Singh and Mariano Alvarez Contreras. His father, Mariano, was deported back to Mexico before Noel was born. Therefore, they had never met. Noel was born premature at just 23 weeks. This is roughly 4 months early. He had different disabilities, such as a severe developmental disorder, social disorder, physical disabilities, and a chronic lung disease. The lung disease required extra care, including oxygen and special treatments. He also had visual impairments, walked with a limp, and had a speech delay, and esotropia, which is when one or two of the eyes turn inward, also referred to as a lazy eye. There are a lot of accounts of neglect and abuse. Cindy at some point married a man named Arshdeep Singh, so they lived on a property owned by a man named Charles Parson. He met Cindy 10 years before this case happened. He found her living in her car with her kids and offered her a space in his home. Originally, she lived in the home with him, but then she got married. The family moved into one of those livable shed things. It had electricity, but no running water. So he left the home unlocked for the family. Some of the kids still stayed in the house. It was kind of a weird situation, to be honest. In 2020, Cindy crashed her car into a pole with her children. She had a previous conviction for repeatedly driving while intoxicated and was sentenced to 10 years probation. Cindy lost custody of Noel alongside his 2 siblings, and they went into foster care to stay with a woman named Patricia Paris. She had a history with having children with autism who flourished in her care, so they thought that she would be a great fit. Patricia said that Noel was a sweet little boy. Even though he had disabilities, he could talk and operate a tablet and was making amazing progress. In 2021, Cindy regained custody of the children. When approved to return to Cindy, Patricia and her husband told her to contact them if she needed any help with Noel. Patrice would check on Noel and Cindy, but by 2022, her FaceTime calls quit being answered. Cindy had other kids. I read 10 in total, but I'm not completely sure. I know at least 6 for sure, while 3 other siblings were placed with grandparents and remained in their care. I'm not really sure why Noel went back to her given his extra care that he needed and why he couldn't just stay with Patricia, because she's really not fit to take care of kids with just generalized needs, let alone one that has extra needs. Back in 2022, Noel was never enrolled in school and his medical appointments lapsed by July 2022. An acquaintance remembered that Cindy asked to borrow their kid for a medical visit at the time. Cindy's brother explained that while at his house a year prior, Cindy had told him not to give Noel any water. When Cindy found out that her brother had given Noel water, she hit Noel in the face with her keys in another room. That was the last time the brother saw the nephew. Last seen in October 2022, when his siblings were born, witnesses saw Noel looking very malnourished. In November, Cindy got passports for all her children, excluding Noel, and she also told people that Noel was evil, possessed, a demon, and worried for the twins' well-being. Witnesses saw them leaving the hospital with his family, which was the last sighting of Noel. Around this time, she told her sister she was afraid that the Texas Department of Family and Protective Services would take away her other children. She also told her mother and brother that she sold Noel to a woman in the parking lot of a Fiesta Mart. On March 20th, 2023, Texas Child Protective Investigations, or the CPI, contacted the Everman police after receiving multiple calls from family members saying that they have not seen Noel since November. Police then conducted a welfare check during which Cindy told the officers that Noel was in Mexico living with his birth father. On March 23rd, the CPI called the police again, saying that even more family members were concerned about Noel's well-being. They also spoke with his birth father. Not only did he not have Noel, but he had never met his son because he was born after his father left the country. The police questioned Noel's siblings at their school. They found out that Cindy had unenrolled the kids. When the police tried to contact Cindy, they could not do so, and when looking into her background, they found that she had several CPS investigations and a criminal history. Therefore, they issued an arrest warrant. On March 25th, the police issued an Amber Alert at midnight. The police asked the public to look out for Noel and possibly a gray 2012 Chevy Silverado with a mural of Santa Murte on the back window. Multiple law enforcement agencies searched for the family with no luck. This is because in March, Noel's stepfather stole $10,000 from his work, then deposited $8,000 of this money. Along with Cindy and their 6 children, he drove to the Dallas-Fort Worth airport. They flew to Turkey, then India without any record of traveling with Noel. The next day on March 26, the police discontinued the Amber Alert and upgraded it to an endangered missing person when they found the family vehicle, the Silverado, there. They go back to the home where Charles said he was surprised to see the family had left. They dropped him off at the hospital a few days prior for like a surgery or an operation. They were supposed to pick him up, but never showed up, and when he got home, they were gone. He was hurt over this because Cindy called him the kid's godfather and had lots of pictures with him and the kids. He never charged Cindy rent, but she helped with bills and food for the home. He claimed they were good parents and gave them toys, which does not equate to good parents. He claimed that when Cindy had the twins, Noel became jealous and refused to eat, saying that's why he lost weight. That is when he needs to see a therapist, and maybe a dietitian if that's true. I do not believe that though. He said the last time he saw Noel, Thanksgiving 2022. They kept his last known sighting though as October. I'm guessing they did not know if he was just covering for Cindy. Charles said that Cindy told him that Noel was in Mexico with his father. He insisted he thinks Noel is alive and well in Mexico. Before the second welfare check, the family threw away the carpet on March 22nd at a convenience store that Archdeep worked at. The dogs picked up the scent of human remains. Police conducted a secondary search of the home on March 27th. Although the police said that they found no evidence of foul play, they did have cadaver dogs help search. Between March 30th and 31st, the police searched the homeowner's property using sonar technology after receiving a tip about newly poured concrete patio. However, the police found nothing to indicate that Noel was under the concrete. On March 30th, the police issued a warrant for Cindy and Archdeep for felony charges of abandoning and endangering a child. On April 5th, the judge issued a warrant stating that Cindy's brother reported to the police. Cindy told him that she sold Noel to an unidentified woman at a Fiesta Mart, but they could not find proof of Noel being sold. The police upgraded Noel's status from endangered to likely deceased on April 6th. On April 10th, police announced that the search that they conducted with cadaver dogs on March 27th alerted to topsoil in the backyard. They focused their search on the backyard because a tip they received saying Noel's stepfather threw out a carpet before the family moved. Human remain detection canines alerted a nearby dumpster where they found the carpet that once lined a makeshift shed that is now the fresh patio. Investigators discovered that Cindy had paid to get the patio built in March of 2023. This allowed them to issue a warrant to have crews remove the patio. When removed, canines alerted to the topsoil again. On April 18th, police told the public that they were talking to people who communicated with Cindy and her husband before the move, and they would conduct more searches through the weekend and the following week. On April 22nd, they conducted ground and drone searches over 215 acres of land. The police had a press conference. The Archdeep used his credit card to fly the family to India 24 hours before they left. Archdeep altered his company's finances and took out $10,000. He then deposited the $8,000 into his personal account. When and if he is found, he will face felony theft charges. On October 30th, Cindy was indicted for capital murder, 2 counts of injury of a child, and 1 count of abandoning without the intent to return. Cindy had an obsession with the Santa Murte. She had the saint all over the home, shed, and car. The police made a statement saying that the saint offered protection to the cartel and other legal services. I actually looked this up because, I don't know, it didn't sound right to me and I didn't want to repeat something that was wrong. So what I could find is it is protection, love, money, and justice of marginalized people. I saw specifically immigrants, people in the LGBT community, and impoverished people have taken to this deity. She at one time was denounced by the Catholic Church, but recently has been displayed during Dia de los Muertos. So the Catholic Church has changed their perspective, I guess. I think there's just a bad reputation because it has been connected to the cartels, cults, and evil people like Cindy, but not primarily. But there have been bad people who used it for nefarious reasons. I hope I explained that good. If I misunderstood, please nicely let me know because I truly want to understand cultures, and I mean no disrespect. Everman County has passed a law to create a park in Noel's name. It'll be named after his middle name. Construction was set for the summer of 2023 with a projected opening in the fall. It was created to keep his story in people's minds and memories of his tragic but short life. In November, the playground was revealed at Clyde Pittman Park. It's called the Noel Angel Alvarez Playground. They took out the name Rodriguez to separate it from Cindy's heinous actions. It's catered to children with severe disabilities, and a lot of the play equipment is for kids who have disabilities. It's really cool looking. On July 1st, 2012, Cindy was added to the FBI 10 Most Wanted fugitive list. On August 20th, Cindy was finally arrested in New Delhi, India by local authorities. She was then extradited to the United States and booked in the Tarrant County Jail in Texas. She was held on a $10 million bond. On April 6th, 2026, this year, Cindy was found incompetent to stand trial. She is currently being held while undergoing treatment, and she is capable of assisting in her own trial. The most recent update comes at a very heavy heart. On May 15th, Noel's remains were found behind the family's former home. Another foster mom of Noel's spoke out after his body was found. I was a little confused about this, but I guess at some point he was with 2 different families. The first was Patrice that we spoke about. This woman is a woman named Yvonne Brooks. She said of Noel, quote, "He came with this big old smile. He came in like he'd been knowing the place. He had a big smile. So I said, okay, he'll be all right. I have a younger daughter. She fell in love with Noel. He was crazy about her. He used to follow her all around the house. She was in college at the time, so when she came home, he took to her right away. He was a happy kid," unquote. She was immediately worried when Noel was reported missing in 2023. She said, quote, "I was hoping that they'd find him. I was really hoping. And then when they did find him, it hurt even more. It hurt even more when they found him because he was there the whole time for that long," unquote. She believes, like everyone, that Cindy is the reason Noel is dead and thinks she should stand trial. I am not gonna lie, this case was a rough one. Noel needed extra care and had the worst possible parents. In my personal opinion, I believe that Cindy had some warped beliefs. Whether they were from mental illness or not, I have no idea. But I think she believed that his disability proved that he was satanic. I wonder if a combination of Noel's disability and her beliefs got twisted. I'm no way trying to excuse Cindy. She was aware enough to hide the evidence and flee. They should have kept Noel with his foster mom, especially because, like I said before, Cindy could not properly care for him. And he was with a family that really could. She specialized in it. Overall, this is a tragic case. I'm glad that Cindy was arrested, although it was sad that Noel was found deceased. I've been following this for a couple years, so when I found that out, it really truly hurt me. I'm glad that his family got answers, and I'm of course talking about the grandparents. His foster parents, his father, who never even got to meet Noel, and siblings. The family did what they could to get Noel help. They reported her so many times. We really need CPS reform because this could have been avoided. They had him in a safe home with someone who loved and would have kept him. I want to end this by bringing attention back where it belongs, on Noel. He was a sweet, vulnerable boy who deserved better. He was failed by the system and his mother that's supposed to love him. We need to remember him to avoid other cases like this. I want to know your opinion, but please be respectful. If you're a judgmental dick, you will be removed and blocked. Comment, subscribe, and like. If you have any future cases you'd like me to cover, please request a case using my form in the description box, or you can put them in the comments and I'll read them. Join me on Wicked Wednesday when I talk about a twisted friendship/love triangle out of New Zealand. Until next time, stay curious, cautious, and safe. Okay, bye.